and a Happy New Year to you all. I have to confess that I've never really been one for New Year's resolutions, normally because I forget them by the 2nd of January. But I do like to take a pause at the beginning of a new year, because it's a time when I check back in with God to check that the journey we're on together is going in the right direction. The reason I do that is because it took a while to get to the place where I recognise what God was calling me to do. I had a very dysfunctional childhood, and as a result, me and academia often butted heads. I ended up leaving school with 2 very poor O-levels, GCSEs for those a little younger than me. In many ways, I'm probably not the ideal person to be speaking to people exploring their vocation, but perhaps in others I am, because I've had to carve out a different path, which I think has helped me learn something which may be helpful to others as they seek God's direction for their journey. I pretty much collided with Jesus in my early 20s and got very excited about the stuff he taught and did. I loved the value and purpose that suddenly became part of my, up until that point, unstructured, chaotic, hedonistic life. I realised I had something to live for outside of myself, and that really thrilled me. I thought I would go on to change the world. I constantly petitioned God to show me what he wanted me to do. I was pretty convinced it was going to be a big, sexy mission that would mean I would be in great demand on Christian platforms. One day, as I was pleading with God, reminding him in no uncertain terms that, "Here I am, Lord, send me," I began to sense what he was calling me to do. I felt God say, "I'm calling you to love." Huh? You're calling me to love? Well, yeah, sure, Lord, you're all about love, but what are you calling me to do? I'm calling you to love. What? That's it? Just to love? I'm calling you to love. God's nothing if not persistent. And yet, that was it. That was my calling. And it's the most wonderful and challenging calling of all. Jesus stated in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 22 that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Everything flows from these 2 commandments. We were created to love because we are made in the image of a God who is love. Want to know what you've been called to do? What your vocation is? I believe all of us are called to love because our lives were never meant to be just about us. How we do that, I have a feeling, is pretty much up to us. For some of us, it may take the shape of a particular vocation, to become ordained, or maybe be called to the religious life, or maybe being called to love a particular people group. Or maybe, like me, you are called to have a ministry that may not be clearly defined. But I can guarantee that all of those calling shapes have at the root of them the greatest commandment. Can I suggest, if you want to know the shape of your calling, alongside seeking God for your vocation, for what he wants you to do, ask him how he wants you to love, and then listen to the heartbeat of your soul. Listen to your spirit when you react to a situation. Consider what your reaction is and why you reacted. Is your reaction one of frustration, compassion, anger at injustice or cruelty? Is it one that is lifted by prayer and worship? All of us react differently in different circumstances. But in those moments, note what is stirring within you, because it is often in those stirrings that the Holy Spirit is trying to tell us something. Pay attention to those stirrings, meditate upon them, pray about them, talk to others about them. Listen intentionally to what makes your heart beat. Listening to my soul's heartbeat made me recognise and appreciate that God is at work in the ordinary as much as he is in the extraordinary, and that we each have a part to play in God's redeeming plan for all creation. Bless you all heaps on your journey. I'm excited for you. I know that God has a plan for each of your lives. It can be daunting trying to discern what that is, but let me encourage you that the process can be part of a most wondrous journey. May you know God's blessing as you are blessing.